All right, student, let's build this part out here. So we got a height of 30 and a width of 50 for our main shape right here for part 6 that we're looking at. And I personally like this view. This really is just telling us a couple of things that we need to know for how far back to bring this, but this view is good. I like it. So height 30 and a length of 50 here. So to get started, right, I'm going to sketch this on my front plane. Sketch, and I'm going to get started with a line for construction for my height, which that once again was a height of 30. So let's smart dimension this 30, and then we can start dimensioning this out, and I'm going to build this in half and then just mirror it over instead of trying to fight every one of these angles and trying to get everything perfect. I think it's easier to just build this half and then mirror it over that line. So from here, what we're going to do is just start dimensioning some things out. So we got this is 7 here, and this is going to be 30. So let's start getting after it, right? This is here a height of 7, right? And this is right here going to be half of 30. So a nice thing here, I mean 30 is easy to divide by 2. It's 15, right? But we can also type in 30 and divide it by 2 and hit enter, and it will bring us to 15, right? So so that's at 15, right? We know that it's 30 tall, right? So we can bring that down, and then we got a couple more dimensions to plug in. So we know this is 20 here, 20, 20, and 10, and this comes down 10, right? So we know that this line here to this point here comes down to 10, right? And then this gap here was 10, so that needs to be at 5. And then I'm going to lock this one in first at 10. And then this one here, from here to here, this distance needs to be 10. And then lastly, we need, we already have this one here. And then this just needs to be locked in at 25 from here to here. And now that we got everything black, we're good to go. So now all we need to do is we can use that mirror feature, and it'll ask us to select a line to mirror, and we want this to mirror, and entities we want mirrored, we can actually just drag that out and select that whole thing, and then accept our sketch. And then from there, all we need to do is to extrude that out, and that's where this other image helps us out here. So we know that needs to be to a depth of 40. And accept that. So we got that done. Now we need to make a this side slot right here. So it's 24 long and 6 wide, and it's 40 across, and that's really telling us that this is in the middle, right? Because we can take the 50 here, right? Subtract the 40 off of that, which gives us 10 left over, and that will tell us this 10 is going to be this distance from here to here plus this distance from here to here. So if we divide that 10 by 2, it's telling us this distance from this line right here to this point is 5. I hope you understood what I just said there, right? So let's take a view from the top, right? And we're going to sketch right here, and we know that it was 6. So let's lock this in here in the middle, and I'm going to do 2 of these circles, and we're going to dimension that out to be 6. And now we're going to take this, and I want to make sure this is off by 5, right, which it is. So that's telling us that center. And so now what we need to do is get this 24 apart. And note, the 24 is from the end of the slot to the end of the slot, not the middle of the circle to the middle of the circle. So let's make sure we get from end to end, right, and make that 24. Right, so now it brought this down, and it's not. This isn't really telling us what, how far off to go from here, but that's okay. We know this is 40, and we know this is 24, so we can actually figure out how to get this in the center of that. Okay, so now we wanted smart dimension from here to here, right? And so we know we can do some math, and we're going to use this as a calculator. So if we go 40 minus 24, right, and that gives us 16, right, and we know then that 16, we got to get out of that. And so if we take that 16 and we divide that by 2, which will give us 8, that will now take this and pull this up into the middle of this. Now we got 2 circles, and now we need to make that into a slot. So the easiest way to do that is we're going to grab our line tool, and we're going to lock these points from here to here, and then we're going to bring in one more line, and we're going to do the same thing from here to here. Come up here to our trim tool, and I'm going to cut these 2 slots out, or those 2 sides of the circle, and now I have this here in it. Why we want to do it like that is because it's going to make these tangential, right? Which means these arcs are nice. Whoops. Control Z twice there to get my part back. So now that I'm off of this slot, this little sign right here is letting me know that this is a tangential arc, which means it's not a weak point. It's not a weak structure in that arc, and that arc flows directly into that line, and there's no gap there, right? There's no weak point. So once we select that, we can come in here and extrude that cut out, and we're going to remove that. And the depth of 25 is okay. We could also tell it to just remove up to next, which would just remove that face. And there we are. We have our part 6 built out, and that's what it looks like for that. And go ahead and just check your mass properties and make sure they're correct on the mass properties sheet, right? All right.